And we welcome you back to our final interview here on our 2024 Sooner Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Media Day. And we're going to head back down to Texas and our great friends over at Wayland Baptist. And joining us is their head coach, Jason Cooper, and just an unbelievable basketball player and a terrific student athlete in Megan Nestor. And first off, Megan, last year didn't end the way you guys wanted it to. Has that been the motivation during the offseason and during the preseason? This year to kind of have that chip on your shoulder a little bit and want to vastly, improve upon the finish from last year.
Yes, sir. I think the last year gave me a lot of experience, knowing that I don't have much experience in basketball, but just last year alone gave me a lot of experience, and I feel like it's really helped me during training, and it's going to really help me throughout the season.
And you're one of the leaders that coach leans upon. You had a terrific year last year. So talk about your leadership style, especially with a nice mix of veterans and some new faces that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But are you a vocal leader? Are you somebody that leads by example? Or are you a combination of both?
I think I'm a combination of both.
And definitely,
That's awesome.
Meg's one of the loudest. She's one of the loudest on the court when she's out there. So
No, I
definitely
can't see.
vocal.
I can't see that, Megan. I can't see you being the loudest out there. So,
Really?
Jason, talk a little bit about Megan and just how her game has really come to the forefront. We saw it last year, and I know you're expecting some great things out of her this season.
Yeah, Meg is a great story. A friend of mine that played at Wayland, Hazel Taylor, was from Trinidad, and we played at the same time back in the '90s. And she set a lot of Flying Queen records. And she called me when I got the job here and said, "Hey, I got a girl that knows a girl, kind of deal." And I was like, "Hey, she's tall. All right, let's get her in." And so we got Megan here, and she really had only played netball, hadn't played a lot of basketball, and her transformation, it's a credit to her and her hard work. Literally, like, barely being able to stand up on the court when action was happening her freshman year to, the dominance that she showed last year. I've never seen anything like it. This is my 26th year of coaching, and her improvement from day one to where she finished last year was just blew my mind. I'm so thankful for it. But I tell you, she's an incredibly hardworking young lady. She's humble. She's hungry. She wants to get better every day, and it's been really fun because she's like a sponge for me. Like, everything I'm telling her, and even today we're at practice and we're doing some stuff that she just doesn't, she hasn't worked on. That's we're gonna polish it up, and there's no telling what this girl's gonna do.
Now, before we get into some of the other players, for some people that are watching this and don't know Wayland Baptist women's basketball, it's not the Pioneers, but it's not the Lady Pioneer. It's the Flying Queens. Talk a little bit about for folks that don't know, because I had to call you and ask you about it last year when
Yeah.
I was helping you guys out a little bit. Where did the Flying Queens come from?
Well, Wayland Flying Queens, it's a 75-year history. It's incredible. Almost 8 decades of basketball. We were the first to offer women's basketball scholarships way back in the 40s. There was nobody else to play, and little Plainview, Texas was out on an island all by itself. Lubbock and Amarillo were they were there, but they weren't very big, and there was definitely no universities to play basketball against. And they were having to travel to Chicago and Miami and Los Angeles, and even went to Mexico City and played. And that's a long way in a bus. Back then speed limit was a little different too. So Claude Hutcherson owned the flying service here in town, and that's who our gym's named after, is the Hutcherson Center. And it's like a modern day NIL is the best way to describe it. And he sponsored the team, and they flew the girls everywhere, and they became the Hutcherson Flying Queens. And there's so many great stories. And Wayland, this weekend, the man that coached the Queens, Harley Redden, is being inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame, which is the big
Right.
time Hall of Fame. And he was a World War II fighter pilot and a legendary coach in women's basketball. He actually flew the girls. He flew one of the small planes. They would take 3 or 4 Beechcraft Bonanza planes with 6 or 7 people in each plane, and they flew all over the place playing. it's just a tremendous history, and the impact that Flying Queens basketball has had on women getting to play 5-on-5. Wayland had a
Hmm.
huge part in that. The Title IX movement, Wayland was huge in the Title IX. A lot of the women that played back in the 50s, 60s, 70s were actually involved in that legislation and decisions being made. And even the 5-on-5 and the shot clock, women getting to play with unlimited dribbles, if they were even limited to 2 dribbles at one point. So Wayland has a huge part in the history of women's basketball as we know it today, and it's unbelievable. We just did a golf tournament, and the ladies that run the Flying Queen Foundation and run our museum that we have for our women's basketball program. We're one of the few schools that has a women's basketball museum, and the ladies, they have so many amazing stories, and they're such a great group of women, and the leadership that they've done to get everything, get the Flying Queen history
Sure.
remembered. And there's a if not for us is a program that's coming out, and it's going to be huge for women's basketball, women's sports, and it covers Pat Summit at Tennessee and a lot of the other great women's coaches and programs, and it's coming out. We're hoping, the talk is hopefully it gets like to be a Netflix series and things like that, but the Flying Queens will be involved in that, and it's a wonderful way to advance women's sports and women's basketball in particular. So we're proud, and we take a lot we take a lot of pride in that, and it means a lot to us to be a part of that program.
Yeah, without a doubt. And when you told me the story last year, it was just amazing, especially for as many years as I coached, girls basketball on the high school level. Just hearing that story was terrific. So thank you for sharing that with the folks who are going to be watching. So now let's talk about some of the other young ladies that are going to be helping Megan in striving to win a Sooner Athletic Conference championship this year.
Yeah, we've got a boatload of girls coming back. We got a lot of great experience last year. I was very proud of how our young group with no
Mhm.
seniors last year performed. I mean, we were, going into the last 3 weeks of the season, we win one that we lost, or some different things happen. We're conference champs. We were that close, going into it those final 3 weeks, and to go through and win a game at the national tournament with that group and have them all coming back is just amazing. Um, Emily Segala, our point guard's coming back. She led the conference in assist and assist to turnover ratio, and I think she was second in minutes played. She's a senior, been playing for me for 4 years, so she really understands what we're trying to do. Great floor leader. You talk about vocal, yeah, she's very vocal. So um, Linda Bryce is coming back, and she was third team all conference, and I believe she was sixth or seventh in scoring last year in the SAC, 16 points a game. She's a senior from Coweta, Oklahoma. Bobby Fuquay coming back, the reigning freshman of the year. She had a tremendous year, 11 points a game, led us in 3-point makes. So we're super excited about having her back. Peyton North was our sixth man, guard from Lubbock Cooper. She'll be a sophomore coming back, and she's another one, a lot like Megan. She just exploded last year and just did way more than that I had expected of her to do. And one of the big key pieces coming back is Caitlin Edgman Jordan. And Caitlin missed last season, and she's a 4-time Sooner Athletic Conference player, all Sooner Athletic Conference player. That's what I'm trying to say. Member of our 1,000-point club. She averaged nearly 20 points a game her junior year, and she's a tremendous basketball player, incredible basketball IQ. Meg got to play with her freshman year a little bit at practice and stuff, but being on the court with Caitlin, it just everything's different with her out there. She's such a high IQ, high energy. It's just she does a lot of those things that go unnoticed on the stat sheet, but she also gets some really good stats too. So we've got just a solid group of returning players. These girls, have between 1 and 3 years of national tournament experience. They've won 3 national tournament games between them, and we're eyeing that conference championship. That's our goal. That's up there at the top of the list, and we feel like we got a nice core.
Megan, how much fun is it to be able to play with this group that's all returning from last year to this year. That's just got to be not only fun, but it makes things a little bit easier too.
Yes, sir. I feel like we have a good chemistry that all of us were returning, and we know how each other play. And I feel like all of us were just looking forward to being conference champions and win the conference tournament, and national champions too.
Absolutely. Well, the non-conference schedule, coach, and you got a good one. I mean, there's some great games in there that are going to help, kind of see where you're at and get you ready for Sooner play. And we'll talk about the Sooner schedule here in a minute. But when you look at an exhibition game against West Texas A&M, then you play South Plains, Odessa, Arlington Baptist, and then the Queens Classic. You bring in Our Lady of the Lake and Texas A&M, San Antonio. That is a great non-conference schedule to get you ready for the season.
Yeah, playing 24 conference games is incredible, and starting conference as early as we do, we tried to get some games on there where we'd be challenged, and WT is very very good Division II program year in and year out, and we recruit some of the same kids. They're pretty close to us, so I know he's got a really tough squad and does a great job with them. So I'm looking forward to the challenge going up there, and we're playing at their place next Friday. South Plains College is year in and year out one of the top junior colleges in the country. They'll probably have 8 to 10 kids that are going to be playing D1, in next year. So Odessa College is a solid one too. So we've got some good prep getting ready. Olu and I believe A&M San Antonio will both be fighting for the Lone Star. The Red River Conference championship this year, and they have really good coaches, and so yeah, we're gonna know what we're made of in about 3 weeks. So it's good. I love a challenge, and I think our girls are ready for it.
But then you look at the Sooner schedule, and coach, I think this is the deepest that our conference has been in many, many years. There's not going to be an easy out. You add College of the Ozarks into the mix, who traditionally is an extremely great program. And then you open right up with Langston right out of the gate in conference play. It's going to be a knockdown, drag out rock fight every Thursday and Saturday in Sooner Athletic Conference play this year.
Yeah, and that's it's exciting, but it's stressful, and yeah, but we're up for the challenge. Ozarks is they have a good group returning and some really really talented kids coming back, and of course their coach does an amazing job with them. You got Macu and Langston, and on and on. Texas Wesleyan has a bunch of kids coming back. It's going to be really. It's going to be a battle. I wouldn't be surprised going into the last few weeks of the season if there aren't 4 or 5 teams that could win it. It would just be like you said, just a rock fight, and bare knuckle it and see who can finish at the end, who's still alive through the gauntlet. So, yeah, we got, Langston coming in, they got a new coach. Looks like they've picked up a really nice roster, and it's always a battle with Langston. They're going to be super talented and athletic and strong, good basketball players. So we're, like I said, we're every day we're talking about it. It's on my mind, so I make sure it's on their mind too. The thing about the Sooner, like you said, you can't take a break.
Right.
You go to sleep on anybody. The 7th or 8th place team, 2 years ago, Southwestern Christian gets the national tournament as I think they were 7th in the overall standings when the season ended, and they came and whooped everybody in the conference tournament. So there's no breaks. You better be ready to go. And it's 4 months of it since it's 24 games. So it's
No
going to
doubt
be fun.
about it. Yeah, and Megan, for you, we've got terrific players in the Sooner Athletic Conference that are right up there with some of the best players in the nation. How much fun is it for you to be able to play against that kind of competition night in and night out?
Man, it's really fun. I like competition. It brings out the best in me. I'm usually looking forward to be, to dominate. So it's really fun to have competition. It really brings the best out of you.
And the crowd support, that you folks have down in Plainview. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I had a chance to watch some of the live streams last year, and just the excitement in the arena for you, Megan. It had to be so much fun to play in that type of an atmosphere.
Yes, sir, it was. And my mom, she haven't seen me play basketball, and she was here for one of my games, so that was pretty exciting too.
No doubt. And Jason, and for you coaching, just seeing the evolution for as many years as you've been coaching women's basketball. Same thing for me when I coached on the high school side, just seeing the evolution and the crowds that come out to support, the community support, the university support. It's got to be really a lot of fun to play a home game down at Wayland.
Yeah, it is. And we have a lot of West Texas girls on our roster, and that those people, they come out and support their teams, and they come out here and support us. And it's fun. In women's basketball especially, sometimes you get in situations where there's more people on the bench participating in the game than there are actually fans in the stands. So it's when we get in, and there's some good environments in our conference. They
Hmm.
have good home crowds. So I think it's just an exciting style of basketball, and exciting because there's good teams, good crowds, good energy. So you don't have those you can't hear the crickets in the gym. That's hard to play when there's nobody there.
I've coached in a few of those situations, so I trust me. I believe you when you say it. So, well, it's great to talk with you guys. Great to hear about the great stories about Wayland Baptist and the Flying Queens. It's going to be a lot of fun to follow you guys this year. So I appreciate the time and have a great season and good luck this year. And I know Coach, me and you will be talking throughout the year.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us on. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And we head down the great folks down at Wayland Baptist to finish up our 2024 Sooner Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Media Day. It's been a great day in chatting with all of our outstanding coaches and players. And believe me when I tell you, watch this one right here. She's a good one. And it'll be a lot of fun to watch her and the Flying Queens this year. Thanks for everybody, all the coaches and student athletes for participating. It's been a great day of spotlighting women's basketball here in the Sooner.